The silence in the command center of the alien mothership was almost unbearable. Lights flickered across the cold metal walls as the Council of the Galaxy's most powerful aliens gathered around a vast, high-tech holographic screen. The air hummed with the quiet buzzing of an advanced computing system that processed data from across the universe. At the center of this hive of activity stood the Emperor, a towering alien figure. His skin was a pale, ghostly shade of blue, his features sharp and angular, his eyes glowing with an unsettling crimson hue. His long, clawed fingers tapped on the armrest of his chair as he watched the screen with an eerie calm. Beside him, his council laughed mockingly. They were all gathered to discuss Earth, an insignificant backwater planet that had long caught their attention. The holographic screen flickered, showing Earth in all its glory. Blue oceans, vast cities, and rolling landscapes. On the screen, humans were going about their daily lives. Pets, a strange concept to the alien empire, were visible too. Dogs, cats, and even some bizarre creatures were seen being pampered by their human owners. "Look at them," the Emperor scoffed, his voice booming with authority. "These weak humans. And look at their pets. Pathetic. Creatures so far beneath us, they're not even worth a second glance. They don't deserve to be anything but playthings for us." The alien council chuckled, their laughter cold and echoing through the metallic walls. One of them, a slender alien with sharp, jagged teeth, sneered. "How can they consider such beasts as companions? Their pets are weak, just like them. They're a joke. It's almost amusing." Another council member, his eyes flickering with the light of 1,000 galaxies, added, "We could make those pets part of our collection. Perhaps they will serve as decoration in our empire. They'll be nothing more than trophies. We should make an example of them, just as we will with Earth's weaklings." The Emperor smiled cruelly. "Exactly. We'll invade Earth, show them the true meaning of power. Their pets, their homes, their cities, they'll all be ours. The humans won't even know what hit them." As the Emperor spoke, a deep, resonating hum filled the room. The screens began to show the alien fleet, vast and imposing, hidden in the vastness of space, cloaked and ready for action. The Emperor waved a hand, and the cloak on the screen disappeared, revealing the monstrous warships that floated in the black expanse. "A planet of weaklings," the Emperor said with a satisfied smirk. "Our superior technology will crush them effortlessly. We'll show them who truly rules the galaxy. We'll take their pets, their homes, their lives, and make them part of our new empire." The aliens all shared a laugh at the thought of humans' helplessness, unaware that their arrogance would soon be their downfall. The Emperor's voice deepened, becoming colder and more commanding. "Prepare the fleet. It's time for Earth to bow before us. Activate the cloaking device." A moment later, the screen flickered once more. The colossal alien ships, now fully cloaked, moved closer to Earth. Their size was incomprehensible, their weapons primed and ready. The cloaking device was engaged, and all communication with Earth was cut off. The planet below continued to spin in peaceful ignorance, its inhabitants going about their lives, oblivious to the terrifying presence looming above them. The Emperor smiled, his plan unfolding perfectly. But while the aliens reveled in their superiority, far below, in a small corner of Earth, an entirely different story was unfolding. We now shift to Bonner, a young human soldier who had just received his first real combat mission. He was training hard in a military base, honing his skills in the art of warfare. Bonner was tall and strong, his eyes filled with a sense of determination that came from years of hard work. But despite his strength, he wasn't naive. He knew that his planet was unprepared for an invasion of this scale. Still, he had faith in his people. As he trained, Bonner's thoughts often turned to his loyal companion, Rex, his dog. Rex wasn't just a regular dog. He was far smarter than any ordinary animal. Bonner had raised him from a pup, and over the years, they had formed an unbreakable bond. Rex understood commands that most dogs could never comprehend. He had a sense of loyalty that surpassed any humans, and Bonner knew that Rex would fight alongside him until the very end. Bonner sat down for a brief moment of rest, his rifle at his side, and he glanced at Rex, who was resting calmly beside him. The dog's eyes gleamed with intelligence as they locked with Bonner's. "Ready for this?" Bonner whispered, his voice steady, but filled with anticipation. Rex wagged his tail, almost as if to say, "Always." As Bonner prepared for the mission ahead, he had no idea that his world was about to be turned upside down. The peaceful morning in the base would soon be shattered by an invasion of unimaginable proportions. Back in the command center, the Emperor watched his screens, satisfied that everything was proceeding according to plan. His fleet was moving closer to Earth, the cloaking device ensuring that their arrival would be a complete surprise. Suddenly, an officer rushed into the room, his face pale. "My lord, the cloaking device, it's malfunctioning. The humans, they've detected our presence." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. How could they detect us?" The officer frantically looked at his monitors. "We don't know, but we're being detected. Our ships are showing up on their radar." The Emperor stood up, his voice filled with fury. "Increase the speed of the cloaked ships. If these weaklings have somehow detected us, we will destroy their defenses before they can react." The alien fleet surged forward, invisible to most, but for some unknown reason, Earth's military had already started to respond. A blip on the radar sent alarms ringing across the planet. The scene now shifts rapidly to Bonner and his fellow soldiers, who are still unaware of the scale of the threat they face. But suddenly, the alarms blare throughout the military base. The ground shakes as the first shockwave from the alien ships rips through the atmosphere. "Get to your stations," shouted the commander as Bonner grabbed his rifle and ran towards the armory. Rex, ever loyal, followed closely behind. His ears perked, sensing the urgency in the air. Bonner's heart raced as he rushed to the control room, the sounds of distant explosions rattling the walls. Through the windows, he saw the sky light up with a brilliant flash. A fleet of unknown ships was emerging from the clouds, and the terror they carried with them was just beginning. It was time for Earth to face its destiny. Bonner knew that the battle would be unlike anything he had ever imagined. But with Rex by his side, he felt a flicker of hope. They were ready. The aliens may have thought Earth's pets were weak, but they were about to learn a lesson the hard way. The sky darkened as the alien fleet decloaked, unleashing chaos on Earth. Massive warships, each one the size of a city, emerged from the cloak of invisibility, their jagged metal edges gleaming under the light of the sun. The atmosphere crackled with energy as these colossal ships hovered above the Earth's major cities, casting long shadows that stretched across entire regions. Below, humanity had no warning, no time to prepare. A loud boom echoed through the air as the first ship descended into the heart of a bustling metropolis. Its colossal form dwarfed everything beneath it. From its underside, hundreds of robotic soldiers dropped to the ground, each one moving with terrifying precision and speed. The sound of their landing was deafening, like a thunderclap that rattled every window, every building, every nerve in the city. Their dark, metallic bodies gleamed as they marched forward, weapons raised, ready to wreak havoc. Cities that had once been symbols of human achievement were now nothing more than targets. The alien fleet's advanced weaponry rained down upon the streets, vaporizing entire buildings in seconds. A fiery wave of destruction swept across the land as laser beams cut through skyscrapers, and explosions obliterated everything in their path. The ground shook with the force of the alien onslaught, and within moments, humanity's first line of defense was reduced to rubble. But the humans fought back with every ounce of strength they had. They weren't going to give up without a fight. Soldiers scrambled to form defensive lines, launching counterattacks with everything from outdated missiles to experimental tech. They knew they were underpowered, but they were resourceful, determined to defend their planet. Bonner, along with his squad, was stationed in a military compound on the outskirts of the city. As the attack began, alarms blared, and the team rushed to their stations. Bonner's heart pounded in his chest, but his resolve never wavered. He had trained for this moment his entire life. He grabbed his rifle, checking the settings, and motioned to his squad. They moved quickly, taking cover behind the nearest structures. "Stay sharp," Bonner ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. His squad nodded, but the tension in the air was palpable. The rumbling of explosions in the distance reverberated through the ground, shaking their feet. Then, without warning, the first wave of robotic soldiers appeared. The ground beneath them cracked open as the robotic warriors marched forward, their glowing red eyes scanning the environment for threats. They were fast, agile, and relentless. Humans tried to fire back, but their weapons were no match for the aliens' superior technology. Missiles were intercepted mid-flight, and gunfire bounced harmlessly off the robots' reinforced armor. In the blink of an eye, the battle turned into a massacre. Bonner's squad fought bravely, but it was clear they were outmatched. One by one, his comrades fell, their bodies crumpling under the relentless assault. Bonner's heart sank as he watched his friends, his fellow soldiers, be wiped out in an instant. The aliens were unstoppable, their sheer firepower overwhelming everything in their path. It was then that Bonner felt a sharp, searing pain in his side. A blinding flash of light exploded beside him, throwing him to the ground. His vision blurred, and the world seemed to slow down. Blood poured from his side, and his breath came in ragged gasps. The ground beneath him felt cold, and for a moment, it seemed as if everything was closing in around him. But then he heard a low growl, a familiar sound that brought him back to reality. Through the haze of pain, Bonner looked up to see Rex, his loyal dog, bounding toward him. Rex's sharp teeth bared. The dog charged at the nearest robot that was preparing to strike Bonner. With lightning speed, Rex leaped, sinking his fangs into the robot's leg and tearing it apart with one swift motion. The robot collapsed, sparks flying from the exposed wires. Bonner's heart raced as he struggled to his feet, his hand clutching his injured side. Rex barked, nudging him with his snout and pulling him toward cover. Despite the ongoing battle, the dog seemed to sense Bonner's pain, guiding him with precision and determination. "Good boy, Rex," Bonner whispered, his voice weak but filled with gratitude. Rex's eyes locked onto his, a silent promise passing between them. The bond between man and pet was unbreakable, and Rex was proving just how much that bond meant. Without hesitation, the dog dragged Bonner through the wreckage, taking him into an abandoned building that had once been a high-rise apartment. As they moved through the ruins, Bonner's mind raced. His squad was gone. The city was lost. But one thing was clear: humanity was not going down without a fight. He looked at Rex, his companion and protector, and realized something that filled him with both hope and dread. The aliens had underestimated them. They had laughed at the humans' pets, but they hadn't understood the true power that lay within them. Rex wasn't just any dog. He was far more than that. The loyalty, intelligence, and sheer will of animals like Rex were not things the aliens could comprehend. While the aliens relied on their high-tech weaponry and advanced robots, humanity had something else: a unique edge. The bond between humans and their pets, the determination to protect one another no matter the cost, was a strength that could not be measured by technology. As Bonner and Rex crouched in the shadows, the sounds of battle raged outside. The distant roar of alien warships filled the air, and explosions shook the very foundations of the city. But Bonner's mind was focused. They had to fight back, even if they were outmatched. The aliens had underestimated them, but that would be their downfall. Meanwhile, high above in the skies, the alien warships continued to rain destruction down on the planet. The enormous ships loomed over the ruins of the city, their weapons blasting away entire blocks, turning them into nothing but ashes. The robotic soldiers continued their relentless march, wiping out any human resistance they encountered. Yet, despite the overwhelming firepower, something was beginning to shift. The aliens had expected an easy victory. They had expected humans to cower in fear. But Bonner, despite the chaos and loss, knew that humanity's spirit wasn't so easily broken. The pets they had mocked, the loyalty they had dismissed, were now their greatest weapon. And it was only a matter of time before the aliens realized just how wrong they were. Bonner and Rex knew the road ahead would be long and dangerous. But as they crouched in the ruins, hidden from the alien forces, Bonner's resolve hardened. He wouldn't give up. Not for himself, not for his fallen comrades, and certainly not for the people of Earth. They would fight back. They would survive, and they would win. Together. The invasion had just begun, but Bonner and Rex were ready to lead the charge, one that would take the fight to the aliens in ways they could never have imagined. The battle raged on as Earth's cities were turned to rubble. The sound of explosions filled the air, and the relentless assault of the alien forces seemed unending. But even in the darkest moments, something strange began to happen. Humanity's pets, once mocked by the invaders, started to exhibit extraordinary abilities that defied all logic and explanation. Bonner and Rex had managed to escape the destruction and regroup with a small group of survivors. Hidden in the ruins of a once thriving city, they worked together to form a resistance, planning to strike back against the aliens. But it wasn't just the humans who were becoming more formidable. Their pets were too. Rex, Bonner's loyal dog, had already proven himself time and time again. His incredible intelligence and unwavering loyalty had saved Bonner's life in the chaos of the initial invasion. But as the days passed, Rex's abilities seemed to grow stronger. He could understand complex commands without being told, dodging alien lasers with an agility that seemed almost impossible for a normal dog. There were times when Rex seemed to sense danger before it arrived, his keen instincts always keeping Bonner one step ahead. But Rex wasn't the only pet displaying unusual powers. All across the planet, animals of every kind began to exhibit strange and inexplicable abilities. Cats, once aloof and distant, moved with superhuman agility, leaping to heights that defied physics. Birds communicated with each other in ways that no one could understand, and even the most domesticated creatures, from rabbits to hamsters, seemed to possess newfound strength and intelligence. As Bonner and his group watched in awe, they realized that their pets were more than just companions. They were allies, and perhaps even something more. The bond between humans and animals, forged over thousands of years, had unlocked something in these creatures. It was as if the very essence of the human struggle for survival had awakened a hidden power in the pets that once were seen as mere decorations or playthings. One particular incident stood out among the many. As Bonner and his group tried to infiltrate an alien command post, they were met with a powerful force of robotic soldiers. The odds were stacked against them, but Bonner knew they had to press forward. Rex, by his side, was prepared to fight. They had entered the building, moving carefully through the dark hallways. The tension was palpable as they crept through the silent corridors, avoiding patrols and looking for an opportunity to strike. Suddenly, the door to the main control room burst open, and a wave of alien soldiers poured in. Bonner's heart raced as the battle began, the humans and their pets fighting side by side. Rex, as quick as lightning, darted past the first wave of robots, confusing them with his speed and agility. Bonner's heart swelled with pride as Rex jumped onto the back of one of the robots, using his teeth to rip open the control panel. The robot collapsed with a loud crash, its systems fried by Rex's quick thinking. But that was only the beginning. Another pet, a large, muscular cat named Shadow, leaped into the fray. Her eyes glowed with an eerie intensity, and she seemed to move as if she could predict the aliens' every move. With a series of lightning-fast swipes, she disabled several of the robots, her claws cutting through their metallic exteriors as if they were paper. Bonner watched in disbelief as the cat used its intelligence to avoid the robots' attacks, moving with a level of precision that no human could match. The real shock, however, came when a small group of dogs, led by a massive Rottweiler named Titan, stormed into the room. Unlike the other animals, Titan didn't fight with claws or teeth. He fought with his mind. With a low growl, Titan focused on one of the alien robots, and to everyone's amazement, the machine froze in place. A wave of static washed over its systems, rendering it completely immobile. The Rottweiler's eyes glowed briefly, a faint blue light, and the alien weapon powered down. Bonner's jaw dropped. Telepathy, he whispered, barely believing his own words. The pets weren't just fighting back, they were fighting back with powers no one had ever seen before. And as the humans watched, it became clear that these abilities were no coincidence. Something was happening to the animals, something that seemed tied to the very struggle of humanity itself. The invasion had just begun, but Bonner and Rex were ready to lead the charge, one that would take the fight to the aliens in ways they could never have imagined. The battle raged on as Earth's cities were turned to rubble. The sound of explosions filled the air, and the relentless assault of the alien forces seemed unending. But even in the darkest moments, something strange began to happen. Humanity's pets, once mocked by the invaders, started to exhibit extraordinary abilities that defied all logic and explanation. Bonner and Rex had managed to escape the destruction and regroup with a small group of survivors. Hidden in the ruins of a once thriving city, they worked together to form a resistance, planning to strike back against the aliens. But it wasn't just the humans who were becoming more formidable. Their pets were too. Rex, Bonner's loyal dog, had already proven himself time and time again. His incredible intelligence and unwavering loyalty had saved Bonner's life in the chaos of the initial invasion. But as the days passed, Rex's abilities seemed to grow stronger. He could understand complex commands without being told, dodging alien lasers with an agility that seemed almost impossible for a normal dog. There were times when Rex seemed to sense danger before it arrived, his keen instincts always keeping Bonner one step ahead. But Rex wasn't the only pet displaying unusual powers. All across the planet, animals of every kind began to exhibit strange and inexplicable abilities. Cats, once aloof and distant, moved with superhuman agility, leaping to heights that defied physics. Birds communicated with each other in ways that no one could understand, and even the most domesticated creatures, from rabbits to hamsters, seemed to possess newfound strength and intelligence. As Bonner and his group watched in awe, they realized that their pets were more than just companions. They were allies, and perhaps even something more. The bond between humans and animals, forged over thousands of years, had unlocked something in these creatures. It was as if the very essence of the human struggle for survival had awakened a hidden power in the pets that once were seen as mere decorations or playthings. One particular incident stood out among the many. As Bonner and his group tried to infiltrate an alien command post, they were met with a powerful force of robotic soldiers. The odds were stacked against them, but Bonner knew they had to press forward. Rex, by his side, was prepared to fight. They had entered the building, moving carefully through the dark hallways. The tension was palpable as they crept through the silent corridors, avoiding patrols and looking for an opportunity to strike. Suddenly, the door to the main control room burst open, and a wave of alien soldiers poured in. Bonner's heart raced as the battle began, the humans and their pets fighting side by side. Rex, as quick as lightning, darted past the first wave of robots, confusing them with his speed and agility. Bonner's heart swelled with pride as Rex jumped onto the back of one of the robots, using his teeth to rip open the control panel. The robot collapsed with a loud crash, its systems fried by Rex's quick thinking. But that was only the beginning. Another pet, a large, muscular cat named Shadow, leaped into the fray. Her eyes glowed with an eerie intensity, and she seemed to move as if she could predict the aliens' every move. With a series of lightning-fast swipes, she disabled several of the robots, her claws cutting through their metallic exteriors as if they were paper. Bonner watched in disbelief as the cat used its intelligence to avoid the robot's attacks, moving with a level of precision that no human could match. The real shock, however, came when a small group of dogs, led by a massive Rottweiler named Titan, stormed into the room. Unlike the other animals, Titan didn't fight with claws or teeth. He fought with his mind. With a low growl, Titan focused on one of the alien robots, and to everyone's amazement, the machine froze in place. A wave of static washed over its systems, rendering it completely immobile. The Rottweiler's eyes glowed briefly, a faint blue light, and the alien weapon powered down. Bonner's jaw dropped. Telepathy, he whispered, barely believing his own words. The pets weren't just fighting back, they were fighting back with powers no one had ever seen before. And as the humans watched, it became clear that these abilities were no coincidence. Something was happening to the animals, something that seemed tied to the very struggle of humanity itself. But the aliens were no fools. They had noticed the strange phenomena, too. In their command centers, alien generals watched in confusion and suspicion as reports of these superpowered pets flooded in. The once disrespectful and mocking tone of the alien emperor shifted. What was happening? How were these simple creatures able to fight back with such strength, intelligence, and even telepathic abilities? They were beginning to suspect that there was far more to these pets than they had originally thought. As the resistance formed, Bonner knew they had something the aliens didn't understand. It was more than just strength or power. It was the bond between humans and their pets. This connection was their secret weapon. The aliens had underestimated it from the beginning, laughing at the pets as if they were nothing more than trivial creatures. But now, it seemed, those same pets were the key to humanity's survival. While the alien forces were scrambling to comprehend this new development, Bonner and the other humans weren't waiting around. They began to train their pets, harnessing these newfound abilities to form a counterattack. Rex, Shadow, Titan, and countless other animals became integral parts of the resistance. Each one had a unique skill. Rex's speed, Shadow's agility, Titan's telepathy, all combining to give the humans a fighting chance. Together, the humans and their pets began to fight back, not only with brute force, but with strategy and intelligence. The pets could sense when danger was near, helping their owners avoid ambushes. They could hack into alien AI systems, shutting down defenses and causing chaos in the alien ranks. Some of them even disrupted alien weapons, rendering them useless just by being in the right place at the right time. It was a new kind of war, a war where the bond between humans and their pets was the most powerful weapon they had. The aliens, who had once looked down on humanity's companions, were now realizing that they were facing something far more dangerous than they had anticipated. They were up against a force they could not comprehend, a force that was driven not by technology or sheer power, but by love, loyalty, and an unbreakable bond. The resistance was growing stronger, and with each passing day, the humans and their pets became a more formidable force. The aliens, once so confident in their superiority, were starting to feel the pressure. The tide of the war was turning, and they had no idea just how powerful the pets could become. Bonner stood at the front of the makeshift command center, Rex by his side. Together, they watched as the resistance gathered, the bond between human and pet stronger than ever. They knew the battle was far from over, but for the first time since the invasion began, there was hope. The aliens had made one fatal mistake. They had underestimated humanity's pets. And now, it was time to make them pay. The humans, bolstered by the unexpected powers of their pets, began to strike back. They had gone from helpless victims to a growing rebellion, taking the fight to the aliens in ways no one could have predicted. Rex, Bonner's loyal dog, played a critical role in this revolution, his enhanced intelligence and instincts leading Bonner and his team to some of the most significant victories. The first major mission had been a success beyond their wildest expectations. Armed with only the most basic tools and their pets by their side, the humans infiltrated an alien base, disabling a crucial communications array. Rex had sensed the presence of cloaked ships hovering overhead, a tactic the aliens had used to remain unseen and undetected. With his heightened senses and uncanny ability to predict movements, Rex had guided Bonner's squad through the base, avoiding detection as they set the charges that would cripple the aliens' operations for weeks. But Rex wasn't the only pet showing newfound abilities. As the humans continued their rebellion, pets all over the world began to show even more extraordinary powers. Some could manipulate energy fields, disrupting the aliens' shield generators with ease. Others could hack into alien systems, overriding security protocols and opening doors that were otherwise impenetrable. It was as though the pets had become the key to unlocking humanity's victory. The resistance, once small and scattered, was growing in strength every day. The rebels were learning to use their pets not just for companionship, but as powerful allies in their war against the alien invaders. Yet, with every victory came new challenges. The aliens, who had once thought of Earth's creatures as nothing more than weak, disposable beings, were now faced with the reality that their superior technology was being undermined by the very pets they had ridiculed. The pets' powers were unpredictable, their behavior impossible to predict. While the aliens were able to adapt to human strategies and tactics, they had no idea how to combat the powers the pets were wielding. For every alien ship destroyed, every base sabotaged, the alien forces grew more and more desperate. The once confident empire began to lose its grip on the Earth. They had underestimated the bond between humans and their pets, and it was costing them dearly. Their soldiers, once unstoppable machines of war, now found themselves outmatched by animals whose powers defied their understanding of science and technology. Bonner and his team carried out sabotage missions with increasing success. Each mission seemed more dangerous than the last, but with Rex by his side, Bonner felt a surge of hope he hadn't felt before. The stakes were higher now. This wasn't just about survival. It was about reclaiming their home, about showing the aliens that humanity was not to be underestimated. But even as they achieved victory after victory, the cost of war weighed heavily on Bonner's heart. His squad, made up of people from all walks of life, had become his family. Together, they had fought side by side through the hardest of times. But war had a way of taking its toll, and that toll was becoming too high to ignore. During one mission, Bonner's team had been tasked with infiltrating a heavily fortified alien stronghold to disable a critical power supply. It was a risky operation, but one they couldn't afford to skip. As the team moved through the alien base, they were ambushed. The aliens had set a trap, waiting for the humans to make their move. They'd fought valiantly, but the alien forces were too much. The mission ended in disaster, and Bonner lost one of his closest comrades, a soldier named Alex, in the chaos. Alex had been more than just a teammate, he had been a friend. They had shared stories of their homes, their families, and their dreams of a better future. The loss hit Bonner hard. The pain was raw and overwhelming, a reminder of the sacrifices that were being made for the rebellion. It was a moment of grief that shook him to his core. But Bonner knew that Alex's sacrifice had not been in vain. The mission had been a success, and the power supply was disabled, leaving the aliens vulnerable. As Bonner stood in the wreckage of the base, he looked down at Rex, his loyal companion. The dog's eyes were full of understanding. Rex had seen the pain in Bonner's eyes before, but this time, he could sense the anger too. Bonner's grief turned into a renewed determination. "We'll make them pay, Rex," Bonner whispered, his voice steady with resolve. "For Alex, for everyone we've lost." The bond between Bonner and Rex had always been strong, but now it was unbreakable. The loss of a comrade only made Bonner more determined to fight back, to make the aliens pay for their cruelty. Every mission, every battle from this point forward, would carry Alex's memory with it. He would not let their sacrifice be in vain. The rebellion continued to grow stronger, the human resistance becoming a force to be reckoned with. The pet-powered warriors, once thought to be nothing more than animals, had become a central part of the resistance. Their abilities, once mysterious and unpredictable, were now a valuable asset in the fight against the aliens. With every successful mission, the humans gained more ground. They sabotaged alien supply lines, destroyed war machines, and even hacked into the alien mothership's communications, sending false information to confuse the enemy. But the aliens were relentless. They regrouped, rethinking their strategy. They began to understand that they couldn't just rely on their technology to win. They needed to find a way to deal with the pets. The bond between the humans and their animals was something the aliens had never anticipated, and it was becoming their greatest weakness. As the rebellion raged on, Bonner's team launched a new series of sabotage missions targeting key alien installations. The missions were fast-paced and action-packed. They infiltrated alien bases under cover of darkness, disabling energy shields and attacking from moving vehicles, all while their pets used their extraordinary abilities to disrupt alien technology. It was a dance of destruction, a perfect blend of strategy, speed, and power. With each mission, Bonner could feel the tide turning in their favor, but the fight was far from over. The aliens had begun to regroup, and the war was far from won. The stakes were higher than ever, and the cost of victory would continue to rise. But Bonner was ready. With Rex by his side, he knew that no matter how dark the days ahead might get, they would continue to fight. For Alex, for Earth, for the future. As the rebellion began to gain momentum, one thing was certain: the battle for Earth was far from over. And Bonner, with his loyal dog Rex, would be at the heart of it, leading the charge for humanity's survival and ultimate victory. The war had been long and brutal, but the humans and their pets had reached a pivotal moment. The aliens, with all their might and advanced technology, had launched their final assault, an all-out attack with their most powerful warship. The ship was a colossal structure, towering over the sky, a weapon of unimaginable destruction. It was armed with everything the alien empire had to offer: laser cannons, energy shields, and most dangerously, an AI that controlled the entire fleet. This AI was a masterpiece of alien engineering, designed to calculate, predict, and counter any human strategies. The stakes had never been higher. This was the final battle. There would be no more retreat, no more chances. If the humans were to have any hope of saving their world, they would have to strike at the heart of the alien war machine. Bonner, Rex, and their fellow resistance fighters had spent weeks planning their assault. With the help of their pets and the intelligence they had gathered, they knew exactly where to strike. The plan was simple: infiltrate the alien warship, bypass its advanced security systems, and destroy the AI core that controlled the entire fleet. Without it, the aliens would lose their strategic advantage, and their fleet would be rendered useless. But the task ahead of them was not easy. The alien warship was a fortress in space, a giant floating city filled with deadly soldiers, advanced technology, and automated defenses. The resistance was smaller than the alien forces, but their unity with their pets gave them a fighting chance. The bond between humans and animals had proven to be a secret weapon, one that the aliens had never anticipated. As Bonner and Rex prepared for their mission, the tension was palpable. The final assault was about to begin, and there was no turning back. The massive warship loomed in the distance, its dark silhouette blocking out the stars. It was a symbol of the aliens' dominance, a reminder of everything they had taken from Earth. Bonner clenched his fists, his mind focused on the task ahead. He had already lost so much, but this time, he would make sure the aliens paid the ultimate price. The team launched their stealth attack, slipping past the alien warship's outer defenses. Rex, with his enhanced intelligence and telepathic connection to Bonner, was crucial in evading detection. The AI controlling the ship had detected many threats before, but it had never encountered the bond between humans and pets. Rex's ability to communicate silently with Bonner gave them an edge. The two moved through the shadows, using advanced technology and their wits to avoid the alien forces patrolling the ship's corridors. As they crept deeper into the ship, Bonner couldn't help but feel the weight of the situation. This was it, The final confrontation. The last chance to save Earth and strike back against the alien empire. But even with the adrenaline coursing through his veins, Bonner knew that their mission was far from guaranteed. The alien eye was powerful, and it had already proven itself capable of overwhelming human resistance. Yet Bonner had one thing the aliens couldn't predict: the unwavering loyalty of Rex. Rex had always been more than just a pet. He was a companion, a protector, a warrior. Their bond had only deepened since the beginning of the invasion. Rex had saved Bonner's life countless times, and now it seemed the dog was willing to risk everything to ensure humanity's survival. They reached the central core of the warship, where the AI controlled the entire fleet. The AI, with its cold, calculating intelligence, had already anticipated human resistance. It believed the humans were no match for its superior technology. It had underestimated one thing, though: the bond between Bonner and Rex. The AI had no way of understanding the strength of the human spirit, especially when it was fueled by love and loyalty. As Bonner and Rex stood at the threshold of the AI's core, the ship's alarms blared, signaling that their presence had been detected. The time for stealth was over. The alien warship's robotic soldiers began to converge on their position, their weapons primed and ready. Bonner's heart raced, but he remained focused. This was their moment. The first wave of robotic soldiers stormed the room, their movements precise and deadly. Bonner fought fiercely, his combat training taking over as he took down one enemy after another. The battle was intense. Explosions rocked the ship, lasers streaked through the air, and the sound of metal clashing against metal filled the room. Rex was at Bonner's side, fighting alongside him with unmatched skill and intelligence. The dog dodged enemy fire with incredible agility, using his enhanced senses to anticipate the movements of the alien soldiers. But despite their best efforts, the odds were against them. The alien soldiers were relentless, and Bonner's team was outnumbered. As the battle raged on, Bonner's vision blurred from exhaustion and blood loss. He couldn't keep this up forever. Just when it seemed like they might be overwhelmed, Rex did something that would change everything. In a split second, Rex lunged forward, tackling a group of alien soldiers and creating an opening for Bonner to advance. But in doing so, he exposed himself to a fatal blow from one of the enemy's weapons. The sound of Rex's pained whine cut through the chaos, and Bonner's heart stopped. His loyal companion, the dog who had been with him through every battle, had been struck down. "Rex!" Bonner shouted, rushing to his side. The dog's breathing was shallow, but he was still alive. Rex's eyes met Bonner's, and for a brief moment they shared a look of understanding. Rex had sacrificed himself to give Bonner a chance to finish the mission. The pain of seeing his friend injured was unbearable, but Bonner knew what he had to do. Rex's sacrifice had to mean something. With tears streaming down his face, Bonner stood tall, his resolve hardened by grief. "I will finish this," he vowed. Bonner continued to push forward, determined to reach the AI core. The robotic soldiers were relentless, but Bonner was fueled by a fire that nothing could extinguish. Each step brought him closer to the heart of the alien ship, where the AI's core pulsed with a cold, mechanical rhythm. It was the key to the entire alien empire. If Bonner could destroy it, he would be one step closer to victory. The final battle was upon them. Bonner fought through wave after wave of enemies, using his strength, agility, and sheer determination to overcome the alien forces. His movements were a blur as he fought with everything he had. He could feel the AI's presence growing stronger as he approached its core, but he didn't falter. He couldn't afford to. As Bonner reached the AI's control center, the final showdown began. The room was filled with holographic screens, flashing lights, and the hum of alien machinery. Bonner's heart raced, and his hands trembled as he approached the core. The AI's voice echoed through the room, cold and emotionless. "Humanity is weak," the AI declared. "You cannot defeat us." Bonner didn't respond. He just raised his weapon and fired. The explosion rocked the ship as the AI's core disintegrated, taking the alien warship with it. The lights flickered, and the ship groaned as it began to break apart. The final victory had been won, but it came at a heavy price. Rex was gone, and Bonner was left standing in the wreckage of the alien mothership, the remnants of their once great empire burning around him. The war was over, but the cost of winning would stay with Bonner forever. As he stood among the ruins, Bonner looked up at the stars, knowing that humanity had survived, but at a cost he could never forget. The final showdown had been won, but the memory of Rex, his loyal companion, would live on in his heart forever. The battle for Earth had reached its final chapter. Bonner stood amidst the ruins of the alien mothership, his weapon still smoking from the explosion that had destroyed the AI, the heart of the alien fleet. The once unstoppable alien force was now faltering. The ships that had dominated the skies above Earth were no longer a threat. With the AI gone, the entire alien fleet began to disband, its soldiers powerless without the guidance of the superintelligent machine. Humanity had done the impossible. Against all odds, they had won. It hadn't been an easy victory. Nothing worth fighting for ever is. The cost had been high, and the loss of so many brave souls, including Bonner's loyal companion, Rex, weighed heavily on his heart. Yet the battle was over. The war was won. The alien invaders, once so confident in their technological superiority, were retreating, their fleets scattering into the dark expanse of space. As the last of the alien ships disappeared into the horizon, a cheer rose from the humans and their pets. They had fought together, side by side, and they had overcome the impossible. No longer were the animals simply companions. They had become heroes in their own right. The world would never look at them the same way again. They were not just pets anymore. They were saviors, protectors of the human race. The global celebration that followed was one of unity, of victory, and of loss. People from all corners of the earth came together to honor their fallen comrades and their loyal pets. Monuments were built, not only to commemorate the humans who had given their lives, but to celebrate the animals who had fought with such bravery. The bond between humans and pets had been proven to be one of the strongest forces in the universe. It had been a connection that no alien technology could break, no fleet could conquer. Bonner, standing alone in the rubble of the alien ship, felt a mixture of grief and pride. He had watched as Rex, his friend, his protector, his family, had given everything to ensure humanity's survival. Rex had sacrificed himself without hesitation, knowing that Bonner would carry on the fight. The loss was something Bonner would never truly get over. But the memory of Rex, his loyalty and courage, was a flame that would never die. As Bonner looked up at the stars, the earth around him seemed different. The world was still scared from the invasion, but there was a sense of hope in the air now, a sense of something new. Earth had been tested, and it had passed with flying colors. Humanity had proven that it wasn't just technology or firepower that made a species strong. It was the heart, the courage, and the bonds they shared with one another, especially with their pets. The aliens had underestimated Earth, and now they would never forget the power of the human spirit. They had thought Earth was weak, that humans were just another species to conquer. But in the end, it was humanity's love for their pets, their unwavering loyalty to one another, that had turned the tide. The pets had fought with skills and powers the aliens could never have imagined. It wasn't just about the humans anymore. It was about the bond they shared with every living creature, big or small, that had stood by them in the face of destruction. In the aftermath of the battle, Earth began to rebuild. Cities were repaired, families reunited, and a new era was born. The humans had learned something invaluable during the invasion. True strength wasn't about having the biggest guns or the most advanced tech. It was about unity, love, and the ability to stand firm in the face of overwhelming odds. The humans had learned to trust in their pets, to value them as much more than simple companions. They were partners, warriors, and sometimes even saviors. Bonner walked through the streets, his mind heavy with the memories of what had been lost, but also full of hope for the future. The world was no longer the same. The victory over the aliens had changed everything. Humanity would no longer be looked down upon. The universe would know that Earth was not a planet to be trifled with. And in this new world, pets would stand proudly by their human counterparts, no longer seen as mere animals, but as equals in the fight for survival. As Bonner held Rex's collar in his hands, a symbol of his fallen friend's bravery, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Rex had given his life to ensure that Bonner and the others would have a chance to live. The sacrifice had been painful, but it had been worth it. And Bonner knew, deep down, that Rex would always be with him in every battle to come. The bond they shared was unbreakable. The Earth, once a target for conquest, now stood as a beacon of strength, a testament to the resilience of humanity and the incredible power of the bond between humans and animals. The aliens had made a grave mistake in underestimating Earth, and now they would have to face the consequences of that mistake. The galaxy would no longer see humans as weak, as easy prey. Earth was a force to be reckoned with, and it was only just beginning to rise. Bonner knew that this victory was just the beginning. The universe was vast, and there were countless challenges still to come. But with the strength of the human spirit and the loyalty of their pets, Earth would be ready for anything. The galaxy had learned that humanity was not a species to be ignored, and now Earth was poised to become a dominant force in the cosmos. As Bonner stood at the edge of a new world, the horizon before him filled with the promise of a brighter future, he knew one thing for certain: Earth had won. And with Rex's memory in his heart, Bonner was ready for whatever came next. The bond between humans and their pets would forever be their greatest strength, and no one, not even the mightiest alien force, could ever take that away.